what I want to talk about next is our work here at Esri. So we work quite a bit to build what we call the Esri Geospatial Cloud. It is what you know as Arcgis, serving a core audience of GIS practitioners. It's also working with developers who are building applications that use our SDKs and APIs to take the spatial analytics and the processes and tools that we have at our disposal and putting them into their own applications. But it's also supporting mapping and visualization for a whole new world of users that are out there, decision makers, executives who are taking advantage of those end applications like dashboards and the like to really take understanding and ask questions of the data, just like Mike showed. He took a process when somebody used to call him on the phone and say, can you tell me how many homeless people are in my specific geography? Now they can go to the dashboard, they can query immediately, get immediate impact back from that and understanding. That's our work here at Esri, is all-encompassing. And at the core of that is ArcGIS. We will continue to work on advancing that. You're gonna see some of that in action over the next few days as the technology side. But the Geospatial Cloud continues to explode. We are building geo-enabled systems like Arcgis Insight, so think of it as spatial business intelligence, spatial BI, that allows you to take your tradecraft and understanding from an insights perspective of data and really to model that, to understand the interdependencies and linkages. You'll see that in action as we go forward throughout the next few days. So it's not just the GIS, it's also these systems that are geo-enabled. So on this Geospatial Cloud, I just want you to get a sense of scale because we're talking about the new normal. So I would say that know that there are more than 7 million users of the Geospatial Cloud today collaborating. There's more than 25 million pieces of content out there that people are sharing, maps and applications and data. And it's also making billions of maps a day. That scale is what we need to tap into individually to understand the new normal. Now, I want to talk a bit about ArcGIS. So ArcGIS is still the core. So many of you, when you hear the term the Geospatial Cloud, know that we are still advancing and building and coordinating at the core of this component, ArcGIS. It is the comprehensive geospatial platform that allows you to do work as an individual on that project when you get home, as a team collaborating together, or really across your organization. It's offered both on-premise as software, but also as a service in the cloud for those of you that want to access it on demand. It has desktop applications that you've seen. It has apps that work on smartphones and devices, just like Mike showed, that allows you to take it to the edge in the field. And it gives you access to those APIs and SDKs as a developer to build applications purpose-specific to your problem or mission. We'll continue to advance that. That's not going away. And in fact, that platform is unique. If you're an IT individual sitting with us today and you are thinking about system architecture and what it means to deploy a system to support kind of a holistic organization approach, ArcGIS is different. It is engineered to be a system of record, that authoritative place of spatial data and content to manage it, to integrate the systems together in the context of geography. It's also a system of insight that allows us to exploit the data that we're managing, to analyze it, to visualize it, to interrogate the data to find those patterns that exist. And it's also a system of engagement. It allows us to push things out through story maps, through websites and applications that take it out of your department, out of your hands, into the end user, no matter where they sit, no matter what their role inside the organization. It is engineered to be that holistic system for you. So I'd like to invite Kevin Armstrong to the stage. Kevin works with us as a solution engineer here in public safety. And what I'd like Kevin to do is actually give you a sense of what we're talking about, how ArcGIS and the Esri Geospatial Cloud can really support this vision of collaboration in the new normal and take it to scale. So Kevin's gonna guide us through a bit of a story. We'll talk a bit about how you can use both web applications for engagement. We'll take a little bit about insights, and then we'll pick it back up from there. So Kevin, I'll let you take the floor, and it's all yours.
What I'd like to do is talk to you today again about how ArcGIS really allows you to collaborate both inside and outside of your organizations to address those complex challenges that we've already seen this morning. I think Sonoma and San Bernardino gave great examples of how you can use GIS to really respond within your organization and share information with the public to build out that resilience in your area or in your community. So I really want to keep building on that idea of collaboration. And what I'd like to do is just describe an example of how you can work from a local level up to a state, up to a federal level, and how powerful of a tool you have in ArcGIS when you scale it out. And I want to use a recent exercise that took place about 5 weeks ago. Ironically enough, was an earthquake exercise. Any first-time earthquake folks last night? I'm in the same boat as you. I explained it to my wife. It was a tense enjoyment of the moment. I'm born and raised and live on the East Coast. I'll take the hurricanes. Y'all can have the earthquakes. Not for me. But it was neat. But ironically enough, this is an exercise that takes place in the central U.S. And what this exercise is about is it's a collaboration of 8 different states around the idea of responding to an earthquake. So you can see on this page here that FEMA is hosting. This exercise takes place, and it's really about not just how individual communities respond, but how we work together to have a coordinated strategy around our response to some of those shocks and incidents that you've seen just this morning and throughout your career in public safety. So the partners that are part of this exercise are obviously numerous federal departments and agencies. All the state and local governments within an 8-state area are participating. You have private sector folks, so cell tower providers, NGOs, critical infrastructure and utility providers, all working together to scale up and build that system of systems that we've been talking about just this morning. So to begin with this, how do we really start working with an incident? Let's say the earthquake's just happened and I'm a local emergency manager. Like most incidents are begin locally and they're felt and responded to initially at a local level. So I'm going to just play the role of a local emergency manager here and say we've had an earthquake that's occurred. So I'm going to switch over to my phone here, and what we have is just a simple form. This is our Survey 123 app. Same thing you filled out this morning with meeting your neighbors. And what this app does is allow me to, when an incident occurs, if I'm in our EOC, a call might come in. Say, hey, we just had an earthquake, the EOC's evacuated. Now I need to have information coming in, and I need to digitally capture all that information. So the first thing I'm going to do is I answer the phone, somebody calls and said, hey, our hospital in we're going to use downtown Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I've never been there, but I heard it's nice. But this is the EOC getting a call and say, hey, our Jenny Stewart Medical Center, it's been damaged by the earthquake, it's now closed, right? We need to move all the patients out, we can't accept anyone new, and we need to now share this information out. So the first thing I'm going to do is capture the status of that hospital. So I say, okay, it's no longer operational. I can send that data in. So I've sent that data in. Now back over in our EOC, if I switch back to our dashboard now, we can see that information is instantly shared across our organization. So you might recognize this dashboard. This incident status dashboard is part of our emergency management solution templates. You'll hear more about the entire suite tomorrow. But what this shows us is now I know that hospital is closed. Everybody that I give access to in my organization to this dashboard now has that information. They don't have to make a phone call. They don't have to go tap somebody on the shoulder. It's instantly shared. And this dashboard really is just a configured set of answers to the common questions that we get during some of these impacts or some of these shocks. So I see a number of open shelters in our capacity, and I can instantly make decisions and help respond. So this is a very useful dashboard to us, and what I'd like to do is, now that I've informed my entire organization, I also have the public. So all of my citizens that I'm responsible for in our agency, I need them to have a reliable and authoritative source of information. I don't want rumors floating around about the status of hospitals. I need one page they can go to get that authoritative answer. So we have a hub site built out here, and what this is just a simple URL and a landing page that our citizens can go to find the information they need. We can give them information, such as where to find an open shelter, or they can provide us with information. We have a public debris reporting form. So we're building out that capacity and that resiliency among our public. And in this case, we've had our hospital closed, so now our users can go in and say, all right, well, I heard this hospital's closed. What's the hospital closest to my house now? So they can just zoom in, click anywhere on the map and say, hey, I live in downtown. I'm going to use that location. And it's not going to show me the hospitals that's closed because this app is listening to those updates that we've made. This is our out-of-the-box directions app. It's part of ArcGIS. You can deploy this literally in minutes. And what this does is give you that authoritative information that you need during an event. And the other thing that we really need to think about here is, this is a very easy-to-use, simple application, right? This is how we want to share information. We don't want to put a text list on a website of all the road closures by address, right? We're presenting the information geographically and allowing people to easily see the context of the incident and how they can respond and begin to recover. So now that we've done this information and we've shared it out to the public and throughout our organization, we're done, right? Well, not quite, right? Yes, it's true most disasters happen, they're responded to at a local level, but their impact is rarely felt only locally, right? We need to scale out and collaborate with all the other affected agencies in our region. And ArcGIS really gives you the tools to be able to do that. So here we have a group built out in our local emergency management agency of that county hospital status data, showing us the actual layer that we're using and the dashboard itself, giving context to that data. And within this group, I've already invited members of my agency. So I have some names in here. These are all people that are part of my organization. But one of the most powerful things about ArcGIS is when you go to this invite users option, who else do I want to collaborate with? By default, I get a list of all those within my organization, and I can search for them by name. But if I uncheck the filter, now I can search all of ArcGIS Online. We have that global community of users who you can easily collaborate with. So in this case, I want to now share this information up to the state level, because this is an incident that's happened, and it's affected more than just my local county. So I happen to know the state emergency manager. He's a good guy. I'm going to say, hey, Doug, here's your information. I've just put up a dashboard. Here's the status of all my hospitals, and I can send him an invitation. Now Doug can go in and see a notification in his system, in his version of ArcGIS, and begin that collaboration with me. So what we're really doing here by collaborating not just horizontally out to all of our other local governments, but also vertically up to the state is we're really building a nervous system, right? This whole area, this exercise, the goal is obviously to share data, but it's to collaborate and help respond, not just as individuals, and not have that fragmented response that we heard Ryan mention earlier. It's to have a joint, unified response to an incident, to have that information flowing quickly and easily between all these organizations. So now that if I've shared my information up to the state, now at the State Emergency Management Agency, we're not just the only county sharing up our information. So we see that now we have a statewide view. We're building the scale of our GIS. It's not just our one county sharing information, it's all the counties rolling up the data to the state level, giving us a much bigger picture of the impact and the magnitude of the event. So the state now sees all the information. Our data point right here is participating in this dashboard. We see its status live and updated. But that's not the only data set that's participating here. The state can see all this information and view all the resource requests that they're getting. So here's a statewide view during the incident showing all the requests that are coming in from the local agencies. They can see all their status, how they're essentially have a real-time view of their response to the actual incident. But we're not just sharing information among governments. We also have utilities, power companies sharing information up so that we get that comprehensive view of the incident and how we can begin to respond. So the state has this nice view, and we're pulling information from all our localities, but we can still scale this system up. Remember, this exercise covers 8 states. There's 7 other states besides Kentucky that are also contributing to this system of systems, and we're rolling that information up to give us a national level view. So in this case, we're looking at an application that FEMA has built, and it's not just our hospital layer. We see that, yes, in Kentucky, that one hospital status that we changed is now updated, but now we have a full comprehensive view of not just hospitals, but our nursing homes, our pharmacies. We have a view of the population that could be affected by this incident, in this case, the earthquake. So that view and all that information is now rolled up, and you can see as you scale that GIS, the picture becomes more and more clear of the magnitude and the level of response that's required to deal with a shock like this. And again, it's not just a single data set that's being shared up. This is a view that we have at the national level of FEMA, looking, of course, you see the incident and the immediate effects, but all the different categories of information that you need to begin to respond to, like transportation. How many roads are closed? We might easily get that for our locality, but now we have it at a 8-state view because, again, this disaster covers a much larger area. So we see information about transportation, communication, so not only power outages, but where do we have cell service, right? What's the status of all of our cell towers? How can we easily communicate that information with each other as we begin to collaborate, right? So as a member of a local government or a state government, we can come to this view and really fully understand the impact. And the last way to really put together all this information is at the federal level, they've built a hub site. So as a local partner who's sharing information, not only just to the state level, but to the federal level, I can get access to all these other partners, all the 8 states, all the local governments sharing, all our businesses, our commercial partners, utilities, sharing information in one place really helps us respond. So as a local user, I can just open up the hub site, I can scroll through and see all the different information products we have that help me answer all the questions around what's the magnitude of the event, what's the status of power, things that I may not have access to at a local level, but since I'm collaborating with all of these other partners, we're able to see the same information, synthesize that together into one comprehensive view of the information. And I can also go down through here, and if there's something I don't see, I can obviously search through the hub site. Maybe I'm just looking for a single data set that I need for my local jurisdiction. I can search through this hub and find, maybe I just want to see a shelter layer from FEMA. I can bring that in. Or maybe I want to see a damage layer from USGS. I can access all that information through this hub and really help me respond to this disaster, help me really make decisions quickly so that we can build up that resilience within our communities. And you see how scaling up your GIS, not just at a local level, but up to the state and national level, really shows the power that the platform gives you. So as public safety agencies, we're all gonna have events that are gonna test your ability to respond, right? It's gonna test your ability to scale up, to communicate information. And throughout this exercise, what this really shows is that ArcGIS gives you that capability to scale up your GIS and really respond quickly and effectively to all of these new normal, to all the problems we see in this new normal within our agencies and within our communities. All right, with that, we'll finish up and go back to Ryan.
Thanks, Kevin. Give me a hand. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to our partners at CUSEC, the Central U.S. Earthquake Consortium. That was real data. That was a real exercise. They allowed us to access the applications and share with you. So Doug and Brian, thank you guys very much for doing that. And Kevin, thanks for the tour. You know, what I love about what he just showed you was what I just kind of lead in with. So ArcGIS supports those GIS professionals who are doing analysis and data management and building the system. You saw the engagement side through Hub and the geo-enabled system side of the Geospatial Cloud, all coming together in one holistic view, right? Supporting everybody from the local level, an emergency management agency at a county, sharing to their state, from the state to the federal level and beyond. So I hope that gave you just context about how this world should be working, right? That's the vision that we have of this global geospatial infrastructure being put to use. So as we close this morning, I just want to leave you with a couple of thoughts and send you on your way to hopefully a great afternoon and tomorrow. I know it's exciting. The schedule is amazing. Thank you to all the presenters who agreed to come in and present your stories, share your challenges with us. So I just want to kind of leave you with this idea that we've talked a lot about the new normal. We talked about the trend line of the new normal continuing in terms of types and sizes and the cost of disasters. And I would just say that, you know, I personally think the new normal will never be normal, right? The idea of saying normal really means nothing. I used to have a professor that said, normal is just a setting on the dryer, right? Normal is just the world that we live in. And so the new normal does require us to think differently. We can't always rely on our historic understanding of what it used to be ready for tomorrow, right? We need new ways to really see what others can't. That's why you're here. Your collective knowledge with technology combined together allows you to see the patterns, the understanding, the new normal that others can't. You're unique, right? And I just want to leave you with this quote again. So I've referenced just to kind of close out. The United Nations has a disaster risk reduction agency, UNDRR, just renamed and rebranded from UNISDR for those that follow the UN system. And every 2 years, they bring together globally from nations around the world, experts in disaster emergency management. We had a delegation from the states attend and support the global platform for disaster risk reduction. And leading up to that platform, they actually took a holistic view of status around the world of our capacity and capability to reduce risk and respond to disasters. And I was reading the summary a few weeks ago. We were working with the group on a story map to help engage, and they provided a summary, and I was just struck by this statement here that I think just sums up what we've been talking about. So let's read through it. It reads like this: in this age of data, information, and connectivity, even though we can quantify more of what was previously uncertain, it makes it apparent how much more we don't know. What is evident is that change is happening more quickly and surprisingly across multiple dimensions and scales than we have ever thought possible. We can no longer use the past as a reliable indicator of the future, and new risks and correlations are emerging in a way that we have not anticipated. I think we have the ability to anticipate, and I think we have the ability to leverage this nervous system around us to work together collaboratively in the new normal to build resilience. You've seen it in action this morning. You've seen organizations go through cascading consequences, make change based on data and science. You heard from the chief this morning from the Border Patrol talking about how data and making data-driven decisions is changing the way that they conduct business and operations, and it augments their experience and their understanding in a new way. That's what we're here to figure out. So I hope that you take away today that there is hope, that there is a possibility, and there is technology to help us do better in the world of this new normal.